We all know the main event in Tokyo is Shohei Ohtani's return to his home country. But let's not forget that he's not the only Japanese star gracing the field in this highly anticipated series between the Dodgers and the Cubs. This article highlights the impressive contingent of Japanese talent that will be on display. First up, joining Ohtani on the Dodgers are two highly touted pitchers, Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki. Yamamoto, who signed a massive deal with the Dodgers, will actually be the opening day starter. He had a solid first season in the big leagues and is healthy and ready to go. Then there's the young phenom Roki Sasaki, making his MLB debut season. This kid has an electric fastball that can touch 100 miles per hour and a nasty splitter. Keep an eye on him. On the Cubs side, they've got two established Japanese stars of their own. Seiya Suzuki has been a key part of their lineup for the past 3 seasons. Coming off his best year yet, he's a solid hitter with power and speed, and while he's primarily played outfield, he might see more time at DH this season. And then there's Shota Imanaga, who made an immediate impact last year, even becoming an all-star. He's expected to be the Cubs' ace this season and will have the honor of facing Yamamoto in that opening game, a fantastic matchup of Japanese pitching talent. So, while the world's eyes will be on Shohei Ohtani, the Tokyo series is truly a celebration of the incredible depth of Japanese talent that has made its mark on Major League Baseball. It's going to be a special experience for fans in Japan to see these 5 stars representing their country on such a big stage. Okay, Mets faithful, remember yesterday's shocker about Clay Holmes being the opening day starter? Well, it turns out there's a fantastic backstory to this. This new article reveals that Holmes signed with the Mets specifically wanting to be a starting pitcher. He wasn't just thrown into the role, this was his goal all along. Apparently, Holmes dedicated his entire offseason to making this dream a reality. He signed with the Mets on a 3-year deal and immediately went to work, grinding hard to ensure he'd be ready for spring training. He even reported to Port St. Lucie early, working tirelessly with the coaching and training staff to refine his pitching arsenal and build up his stamina to handle a starter's workload. Talk about dedication. And now, all that hard work has paid off. Manager Carlos Mendoza officially named Holmes the starter for the Mets' opening day clash against the Houston Astros on March 27. Holmes himself described it as a special thing and an honor. He said it's a testament to the work he's put in and the support he's received from the Mets organization. He had a plan from the get-go. He believed in it, and they believed in him. Mendoza, who actually knows Holmes from their time together with the Yankees, called him into his office with pitching coach Jeremy Hefner to deliver the good news. He reiterated that Holmes earned it, praising his encouraging spring training performance where he hasn't allowed a run and has struck out 13 batters in under 10 innings. Holmes is scheduled to pitch again on Saturday and plans to stretch out to around 70 pitches, with the goal of being ready for a full starter's workload of around 90 pitches by opening day. This is a fantastic story of a player having a dream, putting in the work, and having that dream realized by his new team. It looks like Clay Holmes is ready to show everyone what he's capable of as a starting pitcher for the New York Mets. Okay, Mets faithful, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the potential ace in the rotation. With Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea already dealing with injuries, the Mets are looking a little thin on starting pitching even before the season kicks off. And according to Bleacher Report, the Mets could be a potential landing spot for Miami Marlins ace Sandy Alcantara. Now, Alcantara is a big name. He won the Cy Young Award back in 2022. But there's a catch. He missed the entire 2024 season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. So, any team trading for him would be taking a bit of a gamble on his return to form. The article suggests that the Marlins, who are projected to be one of the weaker teams in baseball, might be looking to move Alcantara. And the Mets, despite reportedly saying they weren't interested in adding more pitching recently, might need to reconsider given their current injury situation. But here's the kicker. The proposed trade in the article has the Mets giving up their top 2 prospects, right-handed pitcher Brandon Sprague and shortstop Jet Williams. That's a hefty price to pay, even for a former Cy Young winner. The article argues that if the Mets are serious about contending for a World Series, this is the kind of sacrifice they might have to make. However, the The article also points out that Mets president of baseball operations David Stearns has been reluctant to hand out long-term contracts to pitchers. So, trading away top prospects for a pitcher whose future performance after Tommy John is uncertain might not be his preferred move. Plus, let's not forget the Mets and Marlins are in the same division, which could make negotiations even trickier. Still, imagine Alcantara at the top of the Mets rotation alongside Kodai Senga. That would certainly give them a much-needed frontline presence. Alcantara boasts a strong arsenal, highlighted by a devastating sinker. If he can return to his pre-surgery form, he could be a game-changer for the Mets. So, Mets fans, what do you think? Are you willing to part with top prospects to potentially land Sandy Alcantara? It certainly sounds like it could be another splash move from the Mets before the season starts. Yankees designated hitter Giancarlo Stanton was already set to start the season on the sidelines due to tennis elbow in both of his arms. But now, manager Aaron Boone has revealed that Stanton is also dealing with a calf injury. According to reports, this calf issue is considered chronic, which doesn't exactly sound like good news. Stanton is back with the team after getting his third PRP injection on those troublesome elbows. But the Yankees still don't have a firm timetable for when we might see him back in the lineup. There's an optimistic whisper of a return around Memorial Day. But honestly, at this point, it feels like we're just crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. The possibility of surgery for Stanton's elbows is still on the table. And if he were to go under the knife, well, that could very likely mean his season is over before it even begins. It's tough to watch a player with his kind of power constantly battling injuries. Last season wasn't exactly smooth sailing for Stanton either, as he played in 114 regular season games, hitting 27 homers. He did have a decent playoff run, but the constant trips to the injured list are definitely a concern for the Yankees. Especially with his hefty contract. It feels like every year we're having this same conversation about Stanton's health. You can't deny the guy's talent and potential to change a game with one swing. But he just hasn't been able to stay consistently healthy. Hopefully, this latest calf issue is minor and he can finally get back on the field and contribute for the Yankees. But right now, the timeline for his return remains a big question mark. And Yankees fans are probably holding their breath once again. So, the Mets and the Cardinals played to a 3-3 tie today in spring training action. But let's dive into the juicy bits, shall we? First and foremost, Juan Soto continues to look absolutely locked in. He smacked a solo home run in the first inning, his fourth of the spring. This guy is just raking, entering the game with a .905 slugging percentage. He wasn't done there, either. In the sixth, he drove in another run with an RBI single. Plus, he even made a sliding catch in right field. Safe to say, Soto is looking every bit the superstar we hoped for. Now, on the pitching side, Kodai Senga had a bit of a busy outing. He threw 3.1 innings and gave up a whopping 7 hits and 2 runs. He did strike out one and didn't walk anyone, but he also threw a wild pitch and served up a homer to the Cardinals' number 9 hitter. Senga mentioned afterwards he was focusing on his fastball, throwing a lot of them to hone his repertoire. He even came back out for the 4th inning after a bit of an early exit in the 3rd. Thanks to those quirky spring training rules, he gave up a hit in every inning he pitched. So definitely some things to work on. But it's still spring training, folks. On the offensive side, Brett Baty, who's battling for playing time, smacked a 2-out double and finished the day 1 for 3. Every hit counts in these spring training battles. In the bullpen, Reed Garrett continued his stellar spring, throwing a scoreless inning and now has 5 scoreless innings with 6 strikeouts and just 1 walk. That's the kind of performance that earns you a spot. Chris Davensky and Sean Reed-Foley also threw scoreless frames. And a minor leaguer, Trey McLaughlin, struck out the side in the 9th to preserve the tie. The Mets actually tied the game in the 8th thanks to some heads-up base running by Jose Azocar, who scored on a wild pitch after stealing second and advancing to third on a throwing error. Gotta love those chaotic spring training moments. So, a tie ball game in the books. Soto continues to shine. Senga's got some things to work on. And a few bullpen arms are looking sharp. The Mets are back at it tomorrow night against the Washington Nationals. We'll keep you updated on all the spring training action.